Hello, Clement229 here, another Topic of the Week video. This week I'm going to be talking about subverting expectations, but in a good way. This week's topic was submitted by Angel89, and her topic is, you talked about bad examples of subverting your expectations, but what about good ones? Genuinely good, well-written plot twists that you thoroughly enjoyed. What made them so effective, and what can aspiring writers learn from what actually made these good compared to the bad subversions and plot twists? I have talked quite a bit about bad plot twists, bad subversions of expectations. You have the classic one of Luke in The Last Jedi that, it subverts your expectations that he's a complete loser. Oh, it sure did. I expected the story to be well written. But something that gets lost in this discussion oftentimes is the fact that plot twists and subverting expectations can work to the benefit of a story rather than the detriment. It becomes a detriment when it's badly done, when the author does not take good enough care of the story to ensure that the shocking moment actually means something. So let's talk about some good examples. Full disclosure, I'm going to be spoiling some things. I won't be going through and spoiling everything, but I'll be spoiling a few things. Now again, I could have picked 20, 30 examples of different, plot twists that were actually good, because there are a lot of times in a story where something shocking happens and it's actually interesting, it's good, it helps enhance the story. For example, Gravity Falls is a great example of this. So, spoilers for season 2. When Ford Pines comes in, and he's introduced, I don't think I can properly express just how much of a twist his character was. Not only is this character that Stan is trying to bring in, not only is he the journal. Or is he the author of the journals, a character who's been shrouded in mystery since the beginning of the show? It's Stan's twin brother. Ford was a shock. I genuinely, if you didn't watch the show as it aired, I don't think I can properly convey the amount of shock. All of our jaws hit the floor when that episode aired. Seeing this, and there's that reveal, he's like, he's the author of the journals. Finally, we're seeing him. And he's related to Dipper and Mabel. He's actually, oh my gosh. It was amazing. It was such an interesting plot twist. And it brought in Ford, which flipped a lot of things on their head, but really enhanced the story. Ford is a wonderful character. Oh, I can't forget, this isn't even a spoiler, the Vader twist in Empire Strikes Back, that Vader is Luke's father. It's so iconic, it's such an iconic scene that everyone knows it. Even people who haven't watched Star Wars know the Luke, I am your father scene. It's that iconic. And it really sets up an interesting dynamic in Return of the Jedi. Obviously, everyone knows that when they started making Star Wars in the beginning, that wasn't part of the plan. Vader wasn't originally Luke's father. There were a few things that were, changed along the way in making the original trilogy. But this changes things in a very interesting way, because then you have Vader, the big bad, the guy who, that Luke needs to defeat, in order to stop the Empire. And it's his father. This evil monster is his father. And it really highlights a lot of the great stuff about Luke's character, and the fact that he was able to reach his father, even though he had spent decades steeped in the dark side, just murdering people in service of the Emperor. It really brought a lot more interesting things to Vader, because Vader would not be the same if he wasn't Anakin Skywalker. And shoot, they built the prequel trilogy off of that idea that Vader is Anakin there's so much more that this adds to the story, and it's a shocking moment. Now, granted, if you're watching Star Wars completely blind and you don't know anything, it's a slap in the face moment when he says, "No, I am your father." Whoa! And it adds so much to the story. Like, this is what I keep wanting to say. A plot twist can work. A plot twist can enhance the story, make it interesting, really make it memorable. It's when you're trying to force something or just make something that doesn't make any sense just for the sake of having it. Hence, comparing I See Dead People to a bunch of the other plot twists in other M. Night Shyamalan movies where M. Night was just trying to make a plot twist for a plot twist. He was just trying to make movies that have these plot twists, regardless of whether they make sense or if they're even interesting. Because people liked I See Dead People. It's got to work. Another one. This isn't really a spoiler now, but Future Trunks being the child of Bulma and Vegeta. That's something that comes out of nowhere in DBZ. Now, mind you, across all of Dragon Ball, Bulma was generally with Yamcha. Now, obviously, she's made it clear lots of times that she'd drop Yamcha like a sack of potatoes the second she saw someone that she liked more. And she generally treated him pretty badly. Poor Yamcha. So, but there was no one else that Bulma was going to get with, really. And Vegeta comes in, and he's been a villain. And then all of a sudden, in the Android saga, it's like, oh yeah, and then Future Trunks comes in, and he's like, oh yeah, my dad's Vegeta, my mom's Bulma. And you're like, what? It's something that comes out of nowhere that Bulma and Vegeta are going to hook up. And it actually works. Toriyama, the madman, made that random as hell romance actually work. And Bulma and Vegeta actually have a very well developed relationship. And it really helped. I talked about Vegeta, in the last topic video. And it really helps his character. It really does help him develop as a character because you see him being a father and a husband. Or I don't know, were they married in the Buu saga? But ultimately, he's with Bulma, and he has a son. And you see this ultimately does affect his character and his development. Even if Trunks was not really planned. It's really interesting. And the fact that Toriyama made it work, because he put in the time to actually show stuff, even if he's not big on writing romances, what he did actually did make it work. And it's funny because this really does add so much to the series. And Future Trunks ended up becoming one of the most popular characters. And he's personally my favorite character in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. So it all ends up working out. And it's something that was just a shocking plot twist. No one would expect that going in. Especially if you see Dragon Ball and then you see Dragon Ball Z and then that's something that just you'd never see it coming. Oh, and another one. This is the Hans plot twist in Frozen. I still maintain that it needed some work and that it needed tweaking in the story to really make it work because there just wasn't enough subtle build-up to it. It was a little not what there should be. However, this plot twist is not only an excellent subversion of expectations. I remember watching Frozen in theaters, and everyone's jaws dropped. Everyone was shocked into silence when Hans revealed he was the villain. Holy crap. It was an intense moment, and it really enhances it. Like, if Hans had just been your typical Disney prince, he wouldn't have been bad, but he would have just been kind of... But him being the twist villain... Oh, and this is... it's genuinely an interesting thing to see. You know, this character who is played up as the perfect cliche Disney prince is actually the bad guy. It's such a great twist, and it's really one of the things that really made Frozen memorable for a lot of people. Even if the execution was a little lacking, it was a great twist, and I think it's better to have this twist than to not. Just because I think it really adds to the story. I think it really does add to the story, and it makes Hans a much more interesting character. But this is something that was bungled a little bit in execution, not completely. It's not like it ruins the movie or anything, but it's a great plot twist that it just needed a little bit of work. But it was a great plot twist, and I still stand by that. I still love the twist, because this makes Hans so much more interesting, and it gives you a lot more to really think about with the movie. Oh my gosh. I can't not talk about Full Metal Alchemist. Now, I'll be spoiling some of Full Metal Alchemist, not a lot, because I could talk about so much in Full Metal Alchemist, but I cannot spoil all of it. But I will spoil something that's relatively early on. When you start the story, Ed and Al are looking for a Philosopher's Stone. They want to reverse the effects of what happened when they attempted human transmutation. So this becomes their goal, is to find a Philosopher's Stone. But they actually end up discovering that Philosopher's Stones are made up of human souls. People are literally killed in order to create them. So this is the Full Metal Alchemist equivalent of Soylent Green is people, Philosopher's Stone is people. And this disgusts them, and it is something that actually changes their goal, because it stops being, we need to get a Philosopher's Stone, and we refuse to use a Philosopher's Stone because of what they are. This is something that completely changes things, and like I said, it changes the goals of Ed and Al. Not their overarching goal, but it does change how they're going about this, just because it reinforces their characters and the morals that they have, and it is a shocking plot twist. And there's a number of twists in the story on Full Metal Alchemist. It's an excellently written story, and I won't even spoil it. It's like, read the manga or watch Brotherhood. Like, the story that Arakawa wrote is excellent. And there are a lot of times when stuff happens that you don't expect, but it's like, it's actually good. It's not doing stuff just for the sake of going, ha ha, you didn't see that coming. Where you get some of that and stuff like Ryan Johnson. But no, it's so good. You know, I'll talk about one more. There's so many more that I can talk about. But one more I want to talk about is Adachi in Persona 4. I don't feel sad. I don't feel bad talking about this, because it's literally a meme that Adachi is the villain. Like, I got into Persona 4, I got into Persona in general through the Persona 4 anime. So when I was watching that, when I started watching this, I'd known for a literal decade that Adachi was the villain. I'd seen the memes, even though I didn't know much about Persona, I knew Adachi was the villain, just because it's like Vader. It becomes such an iconic thing that, well, it's impossible not to know it, even if you're not into it. But as I was watching Persona 4 the animation, I forgot Adachi was the villain. I mean, there are times when I would remember, like, oh wait, oh yeah, of course, Adachi's the villain. But then I would get sucked into it and forget, because it's such an effective twist, because Adachi is such an unassuming character that it's like, you think there's no way he can be the villain. And I almost felt at times that that I had been punked for 10 years. But it's like, no, Adachi is the villain, and when that reveal comes, it all makes sense. But it lures you into such a sense of security with Adachi's character that even knowing full well what he did before I even started watching, before I even got into Persona or played any of the games. I knew Adachi was the villain, but it still got me invested. And that moment when the characters realize that Adachi is the villain, it was reminding me like, oh yeah, he's the villain. But gosh dang it, that twist, you don't expect it. Because Adachi as a character is not someone that you would really expect to be the main bad guy. Or not really the true main bad guy, but like a primary villain. He just seems like, I'm Adachi, I'm Toru Adachi, I'm just your normal, average detective guy. He seems like a dork, and, he interacts with Dojima, and he seems like he's just this doofus. No, it's like, and the way, it doesn't feel unnatural. There's no disconnect. Because it doesn't even have the stumblings that you have with Hans in Frozen. That reveal is so shocking and so slap in the face, but it feels natural. You look back at the story and it makes sense that he's just a really good actor. And he's been putting on this front all this time, and man, it really catches you off guard. And that, to me, there's a lot of people who seem to think that, oh, well, if you do something simple that people know it's coming, or if you do anything that anyone could figure out, then it's bad. No. Because a well-written twist is still a well-written twist, even if you already know the outcome. You watch movies, TV shows with twists, and, a good twist, and it's still a good movie. Sure, the initial what shock may not be there, but the quality of the twist, the quality of the writing still is there, and it still stands. Because if you can enjoy something even after seeing it, and knowing the twist, well, that doesn't take away from the story now, does it? You can't always have people constantly blindsided, and because when you keep doing that, you end up with later M. Night Shyamalan movies where it's just trying to come up with a twist, no matter how ridiculous, just for the sake of having one. Like, no. This is the point I want to make. You have, like, there's a page on TV Tropes called Tropes Are Not Bad. And the point of it is that just because something exists, just because you could point out like a trope, just because something could be done bad, doesn't mean it's automatically bad. A love triangle, as I've talked about previously, doesn't automatically mean that it's bad. It's just that there are a lot of bad love triangles. A plot twist doesn't have to be bad. Some of the most iconic moments in cinema are scenes you don't expect, like in Indiana Jones, when the guy comes in with the sword and he's all like, wow, it's like, so you think he's getting ready for a big fight, and then he pulls out a gun and shoots him. You expect these movies to drag out like big fight scenes, and it's just like, oh no, he just shot him. Iconic moment in cinema. Subverting expectations has become a very dirty word lately because of crap like The Last Jedi and a bunch of authors who seem to think that having a twist for the sake of having a twist is better than having a cohesive story or telling a twist that makes sense. Game of Thrones Season 8 is very well steeped in that. And having a good plot twist really enhances a story. But you don't need a plot twist. There's a lot of stories that don't have twists that are still good. It's just that so many plot twists, especially recently years, it's really become noticeable and it's really become talked about more. Where you have subversion of expectations. You have plot twists that come seemingly out of nowhere. That just damage the story because the writing is not good. And I've given a few examples of talking about plot twists, things that came out of left field, that came in and worked to the benefit of the story. Because again, it's about the quality of the writing, not just the trope itself. And I do want to stress for this, for people who are aspiring writers, and even anyone who's an established writer. When you're writing a plot twist, it's pretty important to me, I would say, that you know what the twist is going into the story, or as you're writing the story, you have a twist. And you write the story with the intention of this twist working in the story, not just being something that's thrown in there just because. And if it is, you gotta make it work. Now, not all of us are Toriyama. Not all of us can write a story flying by the seat of your pants for 10 years. So, I mean, when you're planning out a story, and I highly recommend planning out stories and knowing what you're going to do, it's important to keep in mind if the plot twist is going to benefit the story or be a detriment to it. Really think about this. Think about the implications of this plot twist. Does this help the story? Does this help the characters? Or is this plot twist just thrown in there for the sake of having one? And I do highly recommend looking at good plot twists and analyzing them, seeing why they worked, seeing why Vader's "I am your father" works. Or shoot, even something like in Rogue One, the fact that the Death Star flaw is something that was an intentional design, as revealed in Rogue One by Galen Erso. An interesting thing that it actually answers a plot hole that a lot of people have been wondering about for decades. You know, and it's something that really enhances it because, yeah, why would the Empire let such an obvious flaw fly by? Oh, well, if it was built in as a specific sabotage, well, that makes a whole lot more sense than it just happening to exist there. Just one straight shot down to where one shot could destroy the whole thing. But yeah, you think about that. You think about how these plot twists, how Vader being Luke's father works in the story. How, the reveal of Hans, how that really affected the story. It really made it a lot more memorable. And, some people didn't like it. I personally love the Hans twist. To me, it really enhances the story and makes it a lot more memorable. It makes Frozen really stand out. At least until you get a lot of movies after that constantly trying to copy the twist villain thing. But that's a topic for another discussion. But yeah, ultimately, a twist needs to work. Subverting your audience's expectations shouldn't be the dirty word it is now, because you can subvert the audience's expectations in a good way and present them with a story that they may not have expected. You just can't force it and just do whatever. Like I said, it doesn't matter, if it's a plot twist. It just matters if it's a good plot twist. I think about that. That's about it for this topic. If you want to submit a topic to me, you can comment below if you're on YouTube. If you're on Tumblr, you can send me an ask, but topic : then whatever topic you want me to talk about. Or if you're on the Discord, you can submit a topic to me in the topic submissions channel. Just make sure to follow the rules that I'll be posting down below. If you want to watch last week's topic video, you can check that out here. If you want to watch next week's topic video, you can check that out here when I get that done. So what are some plot twists that you thought worked, or times when your expectations were subverted in a good way? Please comment below, and thank you for watching.